Right.
Am I glad to see you, Jeff?
Hello, mate. You all right?
How are you?
Oh, yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. You don't mind if I finish my cigarette, do you?
Of course. We are live here on Follow Everton, so you do what you can come back even if you want, Jeff. We can have it there, or
Yeah. That's fine. No, I'll just wait because I'm just going to stay on about 20 minutes if that's all right.
That's all right. I'm currently at work. I'm actually waiting for David and John to drop in on the stream, but I just wanted to put some of my thoughts forward on the game and kind of ask you if what you thought as well, but obviously let the other lads expand on that in due course. If that's okay.
Yeah, you crack on and I'll join in.
Excellent. So hello, good evening, welcome to Follow Everton. Yes, no, I'm not in prison. I'm just out and about at the moment, and I wanted to make sure that there was some content coming on about the Everton defeat, unfortunately, at 1-0 to Chelsea ASAP. I've got Jeff with me, the good Jeff, new to the channel. Jeff, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad, thanks. Yeah.
So you went to Goodison today, the first time in a while.
Yeah.
It wasn't the result we wanted, and to be honest, you felt like Everton, it could have gone on all night, but there wasn't really that end product. It was a bit of huff and puff in the end, and without the real quality at the top end of the pitch.
It was an inevitable result for it. It was a result of the team that hasn't finished doing their transfer business.
Yeah,
that's and that's simply that is whoever we're going to get in as a striker urgently needed. Onana and Guy coming in will change that midfield. The defence is fine. Obviously, the two issues. I didn't see Godfrey. How bad is it?
Yeah, to be honest, I think he snapped his ankle. I'd be very surprised if we see him before January. It looks really serious, I know. And the Yerry Mina one, although that looked absolutely innocuous to me watching on TV, he apparently has suffered quite a severe injury as well. Not to the level of Ben Godfrey, but it's an injury that's going to keep him out for a while. So, I mean, you can't write it, can you? Two frontline centre-backs injured within the first game. And, you're back to the bare bones. You're in bare bones up front, bare bones in midfield, and now you've just got the three centre-halves. It's worrying, Jeff, isn't it? In terms of that, despite the fact we look like we've got some element of structure in the team.
Yeah, it's like Yerry Mina is a waste of space and money, and I don't care. Like, people say he's the best centre-back we've got. I don't agree. I think he's a liability. He causes more problems than he solves, and the sooner he's gone, the better. I don't care if he's a nice fella and he can do a dance. I don't care. He just needs to be gone as soon as possible. I feel sorry for Godfrey. That's unfortunate. I thought Holgate did all right when he came on. I think he did all right, considering the situation. I don't think he caused any problems. The need for Cody becomes more apparent.
Yeah.
Like, if you get him in, that makes a big difference, I think.
I think what you've seen, to be honest with you, is the best defender outside the top six, James Tarkowski, at Everton now. And I think you need to get a like-for-like sort of player to play alongside him, a reliable centre-half who's going to be fit for 35 games plus per season. And Connor Cody fits the bill in that regard. And I agree with what you're saying about Yerry Mina, and hopefully David and John, when they come on the stream now, can expand on that. Just going to bring in David in a second, but the thing with Mina is he's good on his day. He looks like he's in control of everything defensively. He looks very, very assured. And then he goes and gets himself injured again and could potentially be out for 6 to 8 weeks minimum. So you can't rely on him in the squad. We've got to go and find another centre-back. David is going to take over the stream in a moment. So I'm just going to give you my very brief summary, if that's okay, Jack, before I leave you with David. So I thought today Everton, the team was the right selection. I think it was the right thing to do to play Damari Gray, not Dele Alli up front. I think we were always going to have to surrender some possession to Chelsea and play on the counter attack. So I think that bit of added pace was useful. The reality was Everton looked like they had a lot of control defensively in terms of all the situations, everything they had to deal with, all the set pieces. There was 13 corners in the first half. I think Everton handled all of these defensive situations really well. And I couldn't have asked for more than we saw defensively. In terms of midfield, I thought Iwobi did okay in there as a number 6. I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that. Iwobi, and I thought actually Decore up until the mistake was good in there, and it looked like they had everything in the wraps of midfield. I think the problem was that we were very neat and tidy. We were structurally sound, defensively sound. When we got into the final sort of third, where we had to actually create something, nothing stuck to anyone, and we couldn't get it into the box to cause a threat. So that's my overall summary of the game. And I think, to be honest, we are a bit blunt. I can't see that changing without recruitment. Obviously, Onana's coming into midfield and Gay. 2 players that I think are going to be magnificent for us. But we've got to get a creative player in there. I don't think we can expect goals from Gray, Gordon, and McNeil, the level we need. We've got to enter the transfer market now, bring in a striker, bring in a winger who can also play up front, because otherwise we're going to be really struggling to score. And we might only need 1 or 2 goals of the game to win, because we do look solid at the back. We look well coached. When Holgate came on for Godfrey, he looked capable. I didn't think any of them in that back line had a bad game. I thought they were very assured. So that's where I think the priority's got to be. Just a quick note. I'm sure David's going to expand on this now with you. If the Godfrey injury is completely unnecessary, the ball's out of play. If the linesman puts his flags out, that tackle doesn't happen. Godfrey doesn't snap his ankle and put himself out for 6 months. Secondly, just before the build to the penalty, Raheem Sterling just falls over. He just slips. He's not fouled. It's just a slip, and it goes on. And in the end, Decore, just a little bit reckless. He pulls him back. He gets caught, not really in the right body position, and then it's a penalty. And you're just unlucky. And Chelsea didn't look like scoring. They were no better than us. Chelsea were no better than us. There was nothing between them. And that's my thoughts. And I will expand on that in the week ahead. Jeff, I know it's been short and sweet, but I'm gonna bring in David to handle the stream from his home office. And I'm going to go back to work.
So I've just let you know, I'm only going to go on for about 10 minutes or so, 10 or 15 minutes. And then is there someone else coming on as well?
That's fine.
Yeah. I've just...
John. Yeah, okay.
I just got some tea, so I'm... nice one. Cheers. Have a good night, mate.
Thanks, Jeff. David, I'm leaving you with the capable hands of Jeff. You'll have heard him on Twitter Spaces before. I hope you get on really well. Did you meet today? Oh, you met today, didn't you? You met today.
Next to each other on the ground for the last few hours. So
exactly. Enjoy.
Nice one.
Thanks.
Thanks, right. I haven't really caught out what Ryan's been talking about. I just caught the end of that there. I don't know has he just been talking generally?
Yeah, I mean the thing is, we all know. Like, I don't think that like there's anything particularly surprising. Like, the things that were good were good. The things that were bad were really bad. You know, and it might sound silly as that, but I thought Patterson had a really good game. I thought he's starting to show some promise. Mykolenko was fine. The whole defense was fine.
Yeah.
And realistically, I don't think anyone really had a mare of a game. And honestly, I don't think anyone particularly did a lot wrong, to be torn apart. We just didn't have enough up front to create the chances. That's as simple as that. Is without a frontline striker, you're not going to score goals. That's just that. Is we created a lot of situations, and then they just died and ended, didn't they? I mean, we watched how many moves just break down at a certain point. There was good football up to a certain point, And I think that's a big positive, is that the passing looked a lot better than it's been previously. The sort of the teamwork and the effort was there. We just lack quality in the area that mattered. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, we're going to bring in Jonathan, another channel member. How's it going, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm all good. How are you, boys?
I'm good, thank you.
Pleasure to be back on the channel.
Do you think? Do you agree with Jeff there that ultimately Everton's kind of downfall today was the fact they didn't have that focal number 9 to put the ball in the back of the net?
Yeah, absolutely. I think defensively we looked pretty strong, and we had especially in set pieces in the past, we've been abysmal. Corners and free kicks flying into our goal, but they had a lot of corners today, and you know what? We look very strong there. I think, as you said, the problem is the main focal man going forward. We can move the ball, but it's just we're lacking a player up top to be able to give the ball to. I think everyone's a bit all over the place, and they're not looking up to try and find the man of who to give the ball to. We're sort of aimlessly just putting the ball in. So I think we're struggling with just that goal scorer that we need. I think McNeil looked a bit lost on the pitch. I don't think he had a proper role that we were trying to give him, as opposed to just like up there, be in the box, get the ball in. And I think he looked a little bit lost up there. I think Gray played well. He made some nice moves. Unfortunately, he didn't grab a goal. But I think we just lack that forward play and momentum. And I think all the players are just a bit lost of who to give the ball to, sort of situation.
You could sum up the whole thing with 2 words. Now what? If we get the ball and we go somewhere, and then it's like, now what?
Yeah, I think
that's it.
You know, we need to sign someone. If we were planning on getting rid of Richarlison, obviously we can't just have Calvert-Lewin for this exact reason that if he gets injured, again, now what are we going to do? And we need to bring someone in to be able to score these goals, because I think defensively we actually look very strong, and I don't think Chelsea had that many opportunities going forwards, and we defended well. Mikalenko made a fantastic interception that stopped them scoring a goal. I think Tarkowski had an excellent game, and you can actually see him even when he's not on the ball. He's actually commanding the defense, and he's instructing players where to go. And I think clearly they've been working on it in pre-season, but the communication between the players is much better. In the past, they don't know where they are, and they know where the other player, but they don't know where their own teammates are, and that creates gaps where the opposition are able to infiltrate and get through. So I think they commanded the game defensively very well. It's just going forward, we have nothing pretty much, and we need to be able to sign someone to be able to be the goal scorer that we need.
Yeah, I think with the system more generally, we look quite comfortable with the 5. We look defensively sound. It's those 3, and naturally they're not going to play in a wide position when you're playing narrow wingers effectively and 1 striker. So they're going to take quite a few weeks to get used to playing narrow, when the likes of Gray and Gordon, they want to be on the touchline, skinning defenders and putting crosses in. So it is going to take a few weeks to click anyway. But without that centre forward, they just don't know where to go, do they? They have to go backward. We kept the ball well, which was promising to see. Julian, we've got some comments here. Julian wants to ask you, Jeff, what you think Onana has to offer in this side.
Oh God, how much do you want to start? Well, in the very first instance, presence. Like, because he is someone who will dominate the middle of the park. He's a brilliant tackler, brilliant in the air. He's quick. And he gets up and down the park. He's not the finished article. You know, he's 20, he's 21 next month, I think, maybe.
He's born in mid-August, so he's about
so he's literally just about to become 21. He's a leader as well, which again is something brilliant, because like that character that we lacked in our sides for years, as we've always said where's the leaders? Where's the leaders? Where's the leaders? And now it's like we've got some leaders in the team. So yeah, he does score. He can score a goal, or he can put a through pass through. And I think when Gay comes in as well, he also adds the same thing. They're both mobile, truly box to box players who can get up, get down, do the lot really. So I think if you put those two with someone who's got a little bit of skill about them, then you've got a perfect three in the midfield. And you're not going to get many people running through you. You're literally shutting the door.
It's difficult to see how the balance works, especially in a 3-4-3, because for me, Iwobi looks to be our most creative player in the side. So, does he drop out? Can you drop him? But Onana gives us the option to play the three in midfield, especially with the injuries to Godfrey and Mina.
Yeah,
I think we've done incredible to sign him. He looks like an absolute sensation. The physicality he would bring to our team and the control and domination we would have in the midfield, I think that's what we've been lacking as well, because in the past we've been a very backwards playing team. We can't see the ball moving forward and we just turn around and pass it back to Pickford, whereas he comes in with the absolute crunching tackles. He's able to control the game, as you say, the leadership qualities as well, and he can actually have vision going forward. So as well as bringing Garner Gay back, I actually loved him as a player because again he had control, and he's sort of like a mini Kante in a way. The control he would bring to the game and the team, it would just improve us around altogether. And I think he would be a sensational signing for us to come in.
Yeah. I'm delighted with Onana signing and with Gay signing, because that centre midfield is sorted. It is sorted. And I think the other thing is what it allows is it allows the creative players that we have got the freedom to go and do something without worrying about going backwards, if you know what I mean. So this is where you were saying that McNeil didn't have he couldn't do what he naturally would do. But that was only for certain reasons. It wasn't for a lack of ability. Gray can do things. We've got players who can do things and create and cause, but it's we were missing a couple of important pieces, and Onana and Garner are definitely two. They're literally two bricks in the set that change the whole system and also make us just. We're not going to lose many games.
I think that's really a very important point as well. The fact that if our creative players have to sit back and help defending as well, then we're going to be struggling because they don't have the freedom to be able to go forward and attack, whereas they have to focus on the defense and come back and help out. Whereas if we can keep our creative players, as you say, like Gray, Iwobi, McNeil, Dele Alli, if they can stay forward and trust the defense to hold it and have these players there, then they'll be able to have that freedom and be able to create chances and create goals, which is just what we were lacking so much today.
It will certainly give us a lot more control and the ability to pick the ball up in transition a lot higher up the pitch and spring the ball into Gordon and Gray on the counter attack. I mean, today they were just faced with 5, 6, 7 Chelsea defenders, because by the time they'd recycled the ball to each other, they were faced with no focal point and not many places to turn. For as much as Everton moved the ball well, I think Chelsea knew without the centre forward they could just let us move it from side to side and just spring when they got the chance.
Have you discussed the Decore penalty yet?
I think Ryan's discussed it briefly. We haven't really gone through the game since I've come on, but not sure how you want to do it.
How do you we reviewed it, did we? Because we were there, so it's hard to.
We'll just pick out moments.
You miss stuff, don't you? I've still not seen the Godfrey thing, so I'm only going off what Ryan said. I didn't really see the penalty. So for
I
a
think
while,
the
I
penalty from Decore, I think it was clumsy,
so
to
clumsy.
sum it up. I think the issue is that he was running into a space where I'm not sure we had it covered, and he had his arms on him. I don't think it was too much of a penalty, but at the same time, VAR can't really overturn it because he had his arms on him. And nowadays, players go down with the slightest of touches, so you can't really overturn it. And I think it is clumsy, but it's just very unfortunate. And what makes it more annoying is it's not that Chelsea won the game 2-3, 4-0. They only won it based on the penalty, because defensively we actually played very well and we were sound. But unfortunately, we gave the penalty away and they scored.
I think everyone would have been happy. Like it would have been a fair result because they definitely had more of the ball. But I think we looked really dangerous in some parts, and we did have a couple of chances. Obviously, I can't remember the keeper's name. Made a really good save in the first half. I don't know whether it was a Tarkovsky header.
Tarkovsky's header, yeah. He tipped it over.
And then obviously in the second half, there was a couple of chances where like I thought we'd actually scored and it got blocked.
Gray had a chance to put it away. And
that was the second half,
Yeah.
We had a good chance in the first half where it's a cross from Damari Gray. Gordon,
that's right.
Went past
this is what we're lacking. If we had DCL in there to be able to get a glancing header on it, or again, well, obviously we don't have Richarlison, but just a player to be in the box when you need it. That's what we need, an out-and-out striker to just bury the ball. That's what we're lacking.
You're saying like we lack creativity, or we need creative players, and I don't necessarily think we need. Like, it's not like we need to go out and get some kind of mad creative player, because we've got players who could cross the ball and get down the channels and whip the ball across. I think Mykolenko did a lovely cross where he got to the byline and cut it back across, and
that was almost goal of the season in the first game.
So I think I thought Patterson was really good today. I thought he was really good. Did well defensively as well. So that was, because people have said, "Oh, yeah, it's good going forward, but he can't defend." And I saw him doing some good defending today. He looked really solid.
He made the crucial block, Mykolenko, as well, which would have definitely been a goal.
Yeah,
and that was
it was an
put the
excellent
body on the line.
block.
And Vinagre did well when he came on as well. So I think all around the defence, including the fullbacks, looks all right.
I would actually argue that one of our weakest defensive players, I'm not sure if you call him a defensive player, but Pickford looked a bit shaky today, and I'm not sure if that's first game nerves, but there were some chances where he was running out and he would mess it up. And I've said this in the past, but I feel like Pickford is sensational at the really high-end difficult things, and he pulls off some fantastic saves. But there are also cases where the very basics he seems to cock up on quite a few times, and they are very costly mistakes. So simple things like that, where he's running out and he's not aware of where the other players are, it can be very costly. And we didn't get away with it because we lost the game, but there were chances where we got away with, where we could have easily conceded more, and we were lucky not to. So I'm not sure if that's, again, first game nerves, but he needs to get more of a grip on that.
Yeah. Was he captain today?
Was he what, sorry?
Was he captain today?
I think he was. I think there was a goal with Sterling, which was given offside, but from what I read, Pickford was at fault for kind of letting that in. I was just going to touch on the penalty. I don't know how much you've got more to say on it, but I did watch it back when I got in, and I couldn't see it from where we were. We were right on the other side, so we couldn't see it. But Decore basically pulls him back. I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, once you start putting your hands on the back of players, he's going to go down. And then Mina comes over. Maybe he would have got there if Decore had left it, but for me, it was a decisive moment in the game. Some of these comments are spot on. That Julian's saying that they wouldn't have scored without the penalty. I completely agree.
If you actually watch the highlights back and you see the penalty, the player's actually going down before the knee or the leg of Decore actually comes in, and he's
Yeah.
got his hands on him and he's looking for that foul. But you just know these days that players go down with barely any contact. You could stand near them and they'll fall over. So it's just something you can't do. You can't put your hands on another player, and that's what happens when you do. It's just clumsy.
The whole referee performance today was shockingly bad. Like, there was some awful decisions. It disappoints because it's like, really, can we still not fix this? Can we seriously was it Sterling who basically in the midfield and he was running, and I think it was Tarkowski was just stood there and he just fell over and they gave a free, and he literally didn't. No one touched him. He just fell over like his own feet, and they gave him a free kick. And you're like, what the bloody hell is that for? He's just fell over. That's not our fault. How's that? And the one that went out, Pickford kicked it from across the touchline, and they didn't give it as out, did they? Is that right? The ball crossed the line, and he booted it, but it crossed the line, so it was out. But they played on because they didn't see it going out.
I think moving forward, I know we haven't got DCL for 5-6 weeks, and obviously we haven't got Richarlison with us anymore. But we do have promise. Defensively we're solid. In the midfield, we're looking to bring Onana and Gay in, who would be, again, brick walls and so solid. And again, that freedom that we would have going forward. Because Mykolenko has got a wicked cross on him. Damari Gray is very talented and can weave himself in and out of other players. We've got a lot of potential, and we just need to find the ability to actually implement it into the game. And again, having those solid players, giving these other players the freedom. Because again, last season, we'd see our other players and everyone would have to come back and we'd have 11 men behind the ball, and then it would only be like one player able to run up. So if we have that solidness and the trust that our defense can actually hold, because last season was very, very poor defensively. There were so many errors. Our centre-backs would be interchanged every single week. We'd have Michael Keane, then Godfrey, then Holgate, then Mina. And I know we had a lot of injuries, but just to have that solid defence, we can then go forward and actually score some goals. And I know it's obviously disappointing having a loss, but there is a lot of potential that we can see going forward, and especially if we bring in these other players.
Yeah, I kind of had this game down as a free hit. Like DCL out, like no recognised striker, because obviously Rondon wasn't available to play. The two new players coming in, they weren't available. You knew this isn't the ultimate of what Everton can be. This was a bit of a scratch performance kind of thing. And I think for the most part, most of that, I didn't see anyone have a stinker today. I don't think I can pick anyone out and say they were bloody awful. You know, they were absolutely useless. Get them off the pitch. I don't want to single anyone out. Obviously, I think Gordon. Yeah,
it was a difficult task for Gordon today. Yeah, he was up front on his own, and then
I think Gordon actually he's pretty much isolated on his own up there. We have before he'd be on the wing and try and create something for other players and give and go sort of thing. Yeah. Whereas I think more he had like a central striker position. Obviously, we're lacking that at the moment. So I think he did play, and his passion and determination is 100% there. I can't fault his energy or his commitment to the game. It's just he was a bit isolated on his own. I think McNeil as well was pretty lost, but I don't think that's the individual player performance. I think that's just that we're lacking that final piece of the puzzle to be able to go and finish it off. But as you say, I think everyone played fairly well, and it's just it was unfortunate we couldn't get that goal in the end.
Worked really hard as well. There was no kind of slacking off in the team. Everyone was fighting.
Hard. Yeah,
which I really, that's the first order of being an Everton player is work hard. If you work hard,
I think
go on. I'm sorry.
It's all right. We've got to pick up on this comment. Nice to have you, Robbie, as always. but he's saying how ruthless the Premier League is when you don't have a number 9, and you know, where is the excuse for the fact that we don't have a number 9? It beggars belief that someone in the squad, you know, just we're so thin up the top there. You just can't believe it, really.
But
all the other top teams, when you look at their teams, they've got star strikers, star wingers, and star forwards. And it's not even that we don't have it's not like we've got our top striker and then we don't have anyone on the bench when they get tired. We actually have no one that is able to just be our striker. For example, if you look at Spurs, they've got so much talent. They've got, for example, Kane or Son or Kulusevski, and they all provide something. But then they've got such a deep bench as well to be able to replace it. And I think, as you say, we're just so thin up top. And we've got all these players who are able to bring things to the team and wingers and other people to help. But again, we just lack that final piece of the puzzle sort of thing to actually finish and be in the right position for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand the point, and I'm not going to sit here and defend the board at any point, you know. But in this regard, we are looking to bring in players, and we're doing deals, and so most of the from what I've seen so far, all the signings that we've made look good. All the business that we've done so far has been good. Without the little injury to DCL, he would have started today. Rondon has a ban, but he's available for the next game. So it's literally just this game that we don't have a recognised striker. And I'm assuming, and I've heard that we're basically looking at a couple of players that should be in the next week. So that's a short-term problem that is going to get solved. I'm not happy that we are starting the season without a number 1 striker, but like I say, the injury to DCL is unlucky. Without that, I think we'd have won today. I think if DCL was fit, I think we could have won this game today.
Yeah.
So DCL provides a lot of aerial support to our team.
Yeah, I'm not going to put the club up for not finishing all of their business on time, because we know the financial restraints we're in, and we know it's difficult to do deals. If we still haven't got recognised strikers in when the window closes, then I'll get angry about it. Then that's fair enough. But based on the business that they've done so far, bringing in the players that they've brought in, I'm happy with all those deals. So I'm not going to beat the club up for not getting all of the business done just yet. That's fair enough.
Yeah. Let's go back into the comments. Peter, it's one for you really, Jeff. But thanks, Peter. He's saying that me and the rest of the lads were bringing a good atmosphere. You must have been sat pretty close to where we were in the main stand.
Who shouted at you to sit down?
Jeff had a bit of a argy-bargy with the supporter.
Jesus. Right. Somebody, I'm in the row, and 2 people go to walk past. I have to stand up to let them past. Because you can't, there's no room. So I literally stood up to let some guy past, went to sit down again, and some other guy come along, so I had to stand up to let him past. And then some guy behind me started moaning and went, "Can you sit down? We can't see." And I'm like, "The fuck do you want me to go?" It's
get on the pitch for
I think it's mine and Ryan's pet hate when people stand up in the middle of the game when you're trying to watch it, but it can't be helped really. I mean, we usually sit in the park end, and we're right in the middle. We're right in the middle of the row, so where we sit, there's no need to actually come past us. So when somebody comes up and past us, we're a bit like, why are you coming?
I would love to introduce in the new stadium a standing only area. I think it would be amazing. And I've been to a lot of local teams or lower leagues, and everyone has stood up the entire game, and it makes for an incredible atmosphere. I was actually on holiday in Malta with a friend, and we went to a Shamrock Rovers game in the Champions League qualification, and every single person was stood up for the full 90 minutes, and it was one of the best atmosphere ever. It just creates a real energy.
He was behind us in the leather jacket. Oh, I saw him.
You should have said hello. So there was another comment I was looking at. We had a Leeds fan. He wanted to know how we feel we're going to do this season, and he thinks Frank's the first one out the door.
I saw a lot of the pundits say that Frank would be sacked, and I don't know where they've got that. I think they're basing this on last season, that we had a very poor run in, and obviously we just survived. But you know what? You've seen the passion that he has for us as well, and that, like, how he was celebrating when we stayed up. And also, I think obviously last season we were really struggling, but we've sacked so many managers in the past, and obviously you just have to build up the team. It takes time for a manager to get used to the team and to have control over the players. And I think he's done some really positive work with us. And obviously you've seen from today how we've started. So I would actually love to see Frank stay, even if we don't get the results we were looking at straight away, if we have injuries or if we're trying to bring in new players. But sacking the manager is not the answer. Every single time we have a few poor runs, they sack the manager. And it's so frustrating, because then we're just like, well, what now? We started again from scratch. So
the comment is clueless, because it's kind of like it's lazy. The comments are lazy because they're saying, oh, he's in trouble and whatever, and it's like, well, have you actually read anything about the club? Have you ever paid any attention at all? We brought in Tarkowski because of Lampard. We brought in Onana because of Lampard. They're not coming here without him. They've come here because of him. You know, these players want to play for him. The atmosphere in the training ground and amongst the lads, from what I've heard, is the best they've known it in years. And particularly, like, it's knee-jerk and it's lazy. I saw that ex-Everton goalie, Rachel Wood or whatever her name is, I think, and she had us down for getting relegated. And it's like, have you watched Everton since you played for us? Have you been paying attention at all? Why are we likely to get relegated?
Yeah, I think it's just off the back of last season, isn't it? Purely,
it's lazy. There's no thought in this opinion. It's just basically they nearly got relegated last year, and Richarlison's left, so therefore they're going to get relegated this year. That's not all we've done, though, is it? You know, if that was all, if it was just that and Richarlison had left, okay, but that's not what we've done. We brought in one of the best centre halves in the league. We're about to bring in two of the best central midfielders in football, not just in football, top level midfielders. Onana could be world class. He could genuinely be world class. Why the hell would his job be under pressure? It's nonsense. But yeah, sorry, I was having a bit of a rant there.
Okay.
No, it's completely true. I think people are just very quick to base us on like last season, and as you said, they've come in for a reason to play under Frank, and I think he's understood our team well. He's come in and brought in a solid defender in Tarkowski. He had a sense. He's played some very good football for Burnley. Obviously, no worries. Tarkowski is a great signing for us, and I think he just brings so much solidity to the team. Onana, he's going to be a unit for us in the midfield, and these players are attracted to us because if I was Onana and I was looking at going to either West Ham or Everton, it's hardly a choice. West Ham are challenging for Europa League or even Champions League, and like that's the kind of football that every player wants, as opposed to battling for relegation. So like it's clearly what Frank has brought in, and he's attracting these kind of players to our club.
Yeah,
sorry,
that's okay. I'm just going through the comments. I mean, Julian's talking about Godfrey in terms of, if the linesman put his flag up. It is a really interesting point, because we've said before they take far too long to put the flag up when we know it's offside, and it can result in situations like this one where there's an unnecessary injury created from playing on.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you have any thoughts on that sort of officiating style?
Do you really want me to have a rant about the referees?
Well, we know you've already mentioned the referees, but from my experience at Goodison from the last few years, I haven't walked away from Goodison without being angry at the referee. So I don't know what's going on.
What I will say is, like, because I know a lot of, there's obviously a lot of people, myself included, who think that we get a rough ride in terms of Everton. But it's not just Everton. And if it was just Everton that were having this kind of issue, then you could say, right, this is rotten and like we're fed up of this and it needs dealing with. The standard across the board is bloody awful. It's awful. Some of the decisions are so pathetic. And it's like,
I think the problem is as well, there's just no consistency between the referees. For example, like that penalty today, there was, I can't remember, I was watching the highlights of another game and there was a penalty shout. A keeper went out to try and punch the ball and he completely missed it and had the player around the neck. And that for me was a blatant penalty compared to what it was today. And I think there's just so much inconsistency and so much like the referees relying on VAR that I think it's actually taking away from the game, because before you had to be demanding and you had to be right, clear penalty, I'm going to give that. And there was more consistency, whereas now VAR has kind of taken that away and it kind of spoils and ruins the game. It just brings it to a much slower pace and the referees sort of rely on it. Like either have the referee or don't. And I think they need to rework VAR in some way.
I just think they need to get better refs because they're not very good. Right. So just letting you know, I haven't got my laptop sorted yet, so I've been using my phone, and for some reason it's so it will die in a moment. That's why I said I can only stay on for a little while.
Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap up. I think we're going to wrap up shortly anyway because it's getting late, and I think there'll probably be a full biopsy of this with Dan and Yana or Ryan or Mabsy or whoever's on it, but I think they're going to come to the same conclusion as everyone else in the comments has, that without a number 9, we are going to struggle to score goals. Yeah. We had a comment earlier from, I'll see if I can find it, basically saying, even with Adrisagay and Onana, it's going to be a really strong defensive wall, but he doesn't see 20 goals coming from Gordon, Gray, and McNeil. Nor do I. I mean, last season, they just about made 20 goals with Richarlison, Gordon and Gray.
But I think the thing we're forgetting is, I know the season has started and it would have been amazing to see them brought in before the season started. But if you have the likes of, do you want to bring that comment back up? Who's you mentioned? McNeil, Gordon, Gray, and Iwobi, they have the delivery. They might not have the finishing touch that we need. And they can score goals. And they might not score 20, but they have that delivery that we need. So if we can actually get into the transfer window and sign someone like Batshuayi we were looking at, or Dennis, or Ismail Assar, some of these names that were thrown about, to just have the player in the box ready so that when we have this delivery coming in from these players, that we can actually have someone on the end of it. So I think, again, we don't really necessarily need like a superstar. We just need someone to be able to be in the box, and it's about positioning. So if we've got the delivery coming in, we just need someone in that position to be able to finish it, because there were some very good balls that came in today from Gray, Mikalenko. He had a very good cross on him, and it's good to see the ball coming in and the creativity, but we just need a player in the box to be able to actually bury it home.
Yeah, I think without getting more strikers in, we just leave ourselves completely vulnerable, because it's quite clear we can't really play without one. I mean, in the first half, it did frustrate me a lot when we would play the sort of lumped balls that we would usually play to Calvert-Lewin. But knowing that that's never going to come off with the likes of Gordon or Gray, you've got to have the intelligence. I don't know whether it starts with Lampard really to instruct the defenders to play balls into the channel, because it was quite clear. Yeah. It's quite clear that the ball going into Doucouré or Iwobi is only coming back because of the way Chelsea set up and the way that we didn't really look to receive possession. So we naturally had to go sort of long ball, and that didn't always work. We need that striker. Hopefully Rondon will look a bit more mobile as he has in pre-season, and we'll start to score a few goals starting with next week.
There's only so much you can do in defence, even if you are so solid in defence, and let's say you either keep a clean sheet or you only concede 1. If you don't have the strike force to match that, then you're only going to be picking up points here and there as opposed to 3 points, which is crucial. Because, again, as we've said in the past, 38 games, you need at least 30 points to be able to stay there. So we're not going to be able to do that by picking up only odd draws here and there. And we do need to be able to score and go forward.
We just pick up on the unluckiness of Everton. Like Kevin says, why are we so unlucky? I don't get it. I'm stumped. We seem to be unlucky with injuries and we seem to be unlucky with decisions. Mark says if we have an injury treatment table room, we'll be top of the league. There actually is a website where you can get the table of the Premier League, and I had a look before the matches this weekend. We were second, actually. I think the Red Shite were first with 8 injuries. We had 7. But we've overtaken them now, and I think a lot of ours are long-term injuries, not just.
And the difference there as well, Liverpool's squad depth is so deep, and they could pretty much play a whole second 11 and still be a very strong team. Whereas us, if we are missing a few key players, for example, Calvert-Lewin, we're really in the bin, and it makes such a huge impact on our team.
Yeah, and Kevin says, what would have happened if Rondon had played today instead of being banned? I mean, it beggars belief because he got sent off for something so stupid in a game that was such an insignificant moment at the 90th minute.
Yeah,
and it's
frustrating.
Effectively could have cost us at least a point, because I think with Rondon or that focal point today, we might have converted one of the headers and just managed to get away with a 1-1 or something like that.
It's just having that player in the position to be able to finish a dinner, basically. And obviously, Calvert-Lewin, I think he brings a lot as an aerial threat as well. Like, I don't think we have many jumpers or headering on the ball. And, I mean, today we didn't especially. But Calvert-Lewin, you can see him die. I think his work with Duncan Ferguson really paid off. And his ability to just, like, glide the ball on a header or to be able to dive in. It's these kind of things which make a big difference. So we need that aerial threat from corners or crosses. And we need, again, the player with good positioning in the box.
Yeah. David says Yerry Mina's very comfortable on the massage table. I mean, he's going to be back there for a few more weeks now by the looks of it, which is unfortunate. It is a mouth-watering prospect when you think attacking a set piece. You could have Yerry Mina, Tarkowski. You might have Keane in there. You might have Calvert-Lewin. You could have Dele Alli. You could have Onana. That's like 5 or 6 strong, tall aerial attackers. That it could be a good weapon for us, but it might be one of our best weapons for scoring, because if we're going to build this side based on being defensively resolute with that back 3 and those 2 destructive players in front, I mean, it could be quite effective.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're going to wrap up now. Is there anything else you would like to discuss before we?
I think just to summarize, really, it's obviously a disappointing start. The penalty was a bit of a clumsy mistake, but I think, you know what, there's a lot of positives to take. I think during the whole of last season, everyone was very negative. It was getting very frustrating. We were obviously like looking to go down, and we managed to stay up through grit and determination. But I think for even just from today's performance, I think there's a lot of improvements have been made, especially through preseason or training. I think our defense looks very strong, and that's definitely something that's improved. For example, I think Michael Keane had some big mistakes made, and just the switch up of centre backs every 2 seconds was a real hit for us. Whereas now we actually look very solid. We've got some good players, even going forward, like Mikalenko. He provides so much in defence and going forward. Like the amount of crosses he put in today, which unfortunately we didn't manage to convert into goals, but he had a few shots himself. And even made that goal-saving like dive across the line. So I think defensively we've sorted out as well, and bringing Connor Cody in again will just strengthen that further. Our signings, Onana and Gay in the midfield, again, as we've gone over, that bring like a brick wall to the team, and that would be incredible. I think we do have good delivery from the likes of Gray. Obviously, we've brought McNeil in as well, and if we can just find the right striker or good positioning up top, for example, Batshuayi or Dennis or someone like that, to just be able to help Calvert-Lewin, and sort of, obviously we can't replace Richarlison, but to just bring someone in that could do the job that he did, I think we could actually have a very promising season. I want to stay positive. I think we have done. It was a shame that we lost, but there's a lot of positivity to take from that game.
Yeah. If everyone watching, I know there's quite a few of you still, if you haven't done already, please hit the like button, please subscribe. If you haven't, it's great for us. It boosts all the algorithms. We're trying to grow. I think you're spot on, Jonathan, and we've had a lot of comments saying the same, that everything you're saying is they agree with. I completely agree. I think to focus more on, just to summarize today, I think, David B saying some positive things. I agree with him. I mean, let's take out the injuries, which we seem to always have, and the defeat, and try and look at what we got from that game. Wayne saying Michaelenko's growing in stature. He looks defensively resolute. We saw a good debut from Patterson. We saw that strong back three. The ability to play through the lines and across the pitch is something we didn't see at the back end of last season. It was very hoofed, and I think we did that well. I think we looked toothless. We couldn't get, without a striker, but I think that will come, and I think there's plenty of positives to look forward. So thank you everyone for joining us, and I'm sure half the team will be back within the next couple of days to probably re-look at this Chelsea game, having slept on it, and hopefully we'll be discussing the announcement of one of these signings, at least Onana. Thank you for joining us, and good night.